Hey everybody, this is Sean from the Dukes of Dice, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Rum and Bones Second Tide from CMON Games. This is the kind of second edition to the original Rum and Bones. I just got this fulfilled from Kickstarter. This is the core set. There's a bunch of Kickstarter goodies, exclusives, add-ons that are coming on the slow boat from China, literally. But we'll take a look at those once those finally come in. But first we're going to take a look at this. I'm going to teach you how to play. It's kind of reminiscent of an online MOBA, multiplayer online battle arena like League of Legends. And you're going to be taking control of some heroes, and you have some crew that you're going to kind of creep along from spawn point along a path to an end point. And it's some good Ameritrash just craziness. So I'll set it up for a two-player game, and we can see how that plays, and I'll come back to give you my first impressions. Rum and Bones is all set up, and you'll notice that there are these two pirate ships over here. Really, there's supposed to be a third one that would come over here. It belongs to the same faction as the one on the far left, but to save some room, I've gone ahead and just placed the two pirate ships. The two ships that go on the outside belong to the faction called Marea de la Muerte. The ship in the center belongs to the Deep Lords. So I've got the score tracker here, and the object of the game is to be the first faction to reach 7 points, and this will track that there. It'll also track who's first player. This goes back and forth from round to round. And then finally it keeps track of the Davy Jones points. These Davy Jones points will determine when the Kraken's going to appear and also who's going to be the target of the Kraken's aggression. You'll notice on the sides I have the dashboards for the various characters and then also the crew for each faction. So let's take a look at all of the characters. Now, each side is going to get 3 characters, and there are different character types. There are captains, quartermasters, swashbucklers, gunners, and brutes. This is the captain for Marea de la Muerte. And you'll notice it has hit points down here, so 10 hit points for Viana. You'll notice that she is the captain, and it shows what faction she's a part of. And there's numerous heroes in the core set that you're able to choose. For this game I want 3, this 3, for the next game I want these different 3. Over here we have some slots for upgrades, but it also shows basic attacks. So what we'll do is we will go ahead and put this basic attack card here on its level 1 side. And a basic attack, you can use multiple actions to take these attacks. And the basic attack will show you how many dice you roll, what the target number is, in this case it's 4+, and then the range of the effectiveness of the weapon. Also, if there's some special ability, it's going to be printed up here. For each hit of a 6, one friendly hero gains $1. You'll notice here, high cost of living, I'm not going to put that down just yet. You notice there's no cost here, but here I have to pay $3 before I can actually give her that upgrade ability. So I'm going to take that off. Going back to the board, each side is supposed to set up 3 groups of 4 crew each. Also on the board, we have 3 spawn points. These are the 3 for the Deep Lords, and Marea de la Muerte have 2 here, and then there will be 1 on the other ship. You notice there's also these removable gangplanks, and this is the way that the crew is going to be able to get from one ship to the next. And then finally we have 5 different objective tiles that represent some different aspect of the ship. They have hit points so they can be destroyed, and when they're destroyed, they're going to give some value to the destroying team. So for example, some money, some victory points, and then some of them will also give some upgrades. For example, the ammo reserves let you upgrade your crew's deck gun. So in addition to setting up the board, setting up the different hero dashboards, each player is going to draw from their faction deck 1, 2, 3 cards. And you'll notice that the cards tell you when they can be played. After an enemy hero attacks, when an enemy crew attack, when a friendly hero attacks, and then it has its effect. It also has some of them may also have a Davy Jones marker. Some of them may also have a Davy Jones symbol, which means that you have to increase the Davy Jones track, which potentially, again, is going to lead to the reveal of the Kraken. So just looking at what some of these cards do, this one says, when a friendly hero attacks, that hero gains $1 per hit this attack. Payoff says, discard any amount of money from any friendly heroes. For every 2 money discarded, 1 zone of enemy crew do not attack this turn. Roll the bones. says that after an enemy hero attacks, the hero must re-roll all hits. So there's a lot of variety in these cards here. So let's see how a round plays. Basically the two players are going to go back and forth, each activating one of their heroes or their crew until they've all activated. Once both players pass, then the next round will start. So let's say that the Deep Lords go first and they decide to activate their Brute Ishmael. And you can see how he looks there. Now, in order to deploy one of your heroes, they have to come in on one of your spawn points. And this is a free action, essentially. Now, a hero is allowed to take 3 actions. An action can be to move, and movement, and a hero can move 3 spaces. These spaces have to be orthogonal. You cannot move diagonally. And you could spend multiple actions to move. So if you want to take 2 actions and move 6, you can do that. But sometimes a hero needs to move from one ship to another very quickly and doesn't really have time to use the gangplanks. In this case, the heroes can use the ropes hanging between the ships to quickly jump across. And this is known as rigging. Really, this is kind of the fastest way to move across the game board, but it does carry a risk that you might actually fall overboard. And that would be a bad thing. So rigging costs a point of your movement. So what I can do is I can go 1, second point of movement, rigging. So let's say I want to wind up right here. I'm going to swing all the way over here. Well, I have to check range first. Checking range, I count the shortest distance in squares. Again, no diagonal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I would take this trusty D6 and I would roll it. I'm looking for a 5 or a 6, the range or higher. Well, that's no good. Goes into the drink. So this means he goes back to the dashboard for that hero, and he's going to get one of these tokens, which basically is going to mean he's out for a full round. Let's say instead I didn't want to live quite so dangerously, and I decide to simply wind up here. So now I'm range 1, 2. I need to roll a 2 or better. I've got it. So that's my second point of movement. With a third point of movement, I could simply move here, so I'm now orthogonally adjacent to the enemy crew over here. So now I can take a second action with Ishmael, and if I look at his dashboard, he has a basic attack that's called Blowhole, and it gets 4 dice, needs a 4+, and it's range 1. These crew are range 1 from him, so I'm going to go ahead and attack. Take my 4 dice, looking for a 4 or better. Miss, but I score 2 hits. Basic crew need 1 hit before they're killed. So 1 casualty, 1 casualty. In addition, for killing crew, Ishmael is going to get $1 for each one. These go directly on his dashboard. This is not a communal source of money for the player, but it's money for that hero to pay for upgrades and card abilities and things like that. These crew go away. He now has a third action, and what's nice is all players' basic attacks can be used multiple times in a turn. So he's going to attack again, needing 4s or better. All right, so he has 1 miss, and now 3 hits, 1, 2, and the extra hit is going to go to the armory. And the extra hit is going to go to the armory. Now, what's interesting in this situation is there is a priority to dealing damage. The active player can't simply choose who will take the damage. So first it has to go to crew, then it can go to bosuns, which are kind of an upgraded crew. Then it can go, let's say instead that the enemy captain was on that spot, and there were the 2 crew deckhands. There is a priority that damage has to get applied in. It can't be chosen by either player. So damage has to go first to deckhands, then to bosuns, who are kind of an upgraded crew member, then to heroes, and then finally to objectives. So in this case, let's say I roll and I get 2 damage. It has to go to the crew. I can't choose to put any of it on the hero or any of it on the objectives. If I were to attack again now with another action, 2 damage, again, will have to go directly to the hero, and I'll put the damage on her player sheet. Eventually, through taking various actions, I'm going to be able to get more gold to now upgrade. So again, whenever I kill a crew, I'm going to get a gold. If I kill a hero, I get 3 gold, and then some other effects might give me gold as well. So if I want to, what I can do is I can pay 3 gold to channel the depths. Basically, I get this level 1 ability. It says, increase your Kraken pool by 1 after rolling. I get to heal Ishmael per hit. So now it's a different type of hit. Can only use it once per turn, but it's 4 dice and it needs a 3 or better. So I've paid the 3 for that upgrade. Also, if I have enough money, I can upgrade an existing ability. So for example, Channel the Depths costs 4 to upgrade. I would pay that 4, flip it over, and now it rolls 6 dice instead of the 4. Not too shabby. Once I'm done activating my hero, I'm going to take one of these exhaustion tokens and put it on their player dashboard. And that way I know I can't use them anymore this round. Now, at this point, it would go to the Marea de la Muerte player, and they would activate a hero, but instead they can also activate their crew. Looking at the crew dashboard, we see it has stats for the deckhand, a bosun, and a deck gun. And what you're able to do in either order is activate the deck gun or activate all of the crew. So let's say that first the Marea de la Muerte player decides to activate their deck gun. The deck gun has unlimited range, but it can't attack any features. So 4 dice, 4+, and again, the range is infinite. So I choose a target on the board, a zone, and let's say I pick these guys over here. So I roll the dice, I kill 1. Since a hero didn't kill this person, no one gets the money. Now to activate the crew, I start by placing 2 deckhands on 3 spawn points. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and then I get to add 2 bosuns, who notice they have a round base instead of the deckhand square bases, onto any of my deployment points. And I can put both of them on 1, I can split them up, it's up to me. So I'm going to put both of them here. Now I need to move all of my crew. And the crew have a particular path that they creep along, or that they follow. So for example, all of the crew originating from this spawn point are going to move here, and then over here, and then eventually trying to get to this spot. Same thing, crew originating here are going to come over here, 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 trying to get to this spot over here. So I move them all along that path. So I move them there. I move them here. I move them here. Now, if the crew start adjacent to any enemy figures, they don't have to move, and they can attack anyone, any enemy figures that are orthogonally adjacent to them. So now my crew will attack. Looking at the crew dashboard, it says that each one gets 1 attack needing a 4+ with a range of 1. But it says they gain +1 to hit if there was a bosun in this zone. So since there are 2 bosuns in here, it's not cumulative because it just needs the 1. So now my crew hit on a 3+, the bosuns hit on a 3+, plus they have 2 dice each. So since I have 2 crew members, that's 1 each. I have 2 bosuns, that's 2 each, for a total of 6 dice. So I roll these. They all need a 3+. That is a terrible roll. I have 2 hits, and that's simply terrible. The 2 wounds go on the Ishmael over there. These guys over here, since they have no one to attack, that's it for their activation. Let's say in a later activation of the crew that when these move here, I'm rolling to hit. I have again my 6 dice needing 3 or better. I have more than enough hits here. I wipe out these crew. Now, whenever my crew eliminate all the enemies from the zone they were attacking, they get a free follow-up move. They can't attack again, but that follow-up move is nice. In a later turn when they attack, they can start working on this rigging line here. If they're able to destroy it, we're going to get 3 coins and 2 victory points, but it does take 6 damage. Eventually, when this is destroyed, if they're able to get to the enemy spawn point that's in their track, they're going to get to ransack and pillage. Basically, they've pushed as far onto the enemy ship that they're capable of going, and now they're just going to go in a mad rush and just kind of go out and just try and chop off whatever they can. So all the crew get removed from the zone. For each crew removed, I'm going to make 1 attack targeting a zone containing an enemy deck feature or hero on that ship. And these hit on a 3+. We haven't talked too much about the card play, but I showed you some examples. These can help you with attacks, they can help you with defense, they can give you some money, a lot of different things there. There's also these various conditions. There's blind, stun, slow, silence, and bleed, which have all sorts of in-game effects that are pretty interesting and just add to, you know, some of the nuances of the game. Finally, at the end of the round, you're going to check to see if the Kraken is going to make an appearance. You add up both Kraken points, so 1 and 3 for 4. Each side rolls a die. If the result is that number or less, there's a 6, the Kraken will not appear. If the Kraken does show up, you'll need the Kraken dashboard, and you'll need the marker, which will go in between the ships, like so. You'll notice it says when the Kraken is deployed, you'll deal 3 damage to all heroes whose Kraken pool has the highest Kraken points. If someone tries to attack the Kraken, then you're going to roll Fury of the Locker. On a 1 through 3, you do the Rampage. On a 4, 5, 6, you do the Tentacle Crush. Some cool different abilities, and just add something. And you'll note, too, killing the Kraken is worth 3 victory points. So when you're just trying to get to 7, 3 out of 7 is pretty good. You'll also switch the first player. Players can then discard any of the cards from their hand and draw back up to 3. If you have a hero that was killed this turn, denoted by, again, one of these tokens, you'll flip it over to this side, and then on a subsequent turn, this can get removed and you can be able to freely deploy these heroes. So the rounds will continue until one side has reached 7 points, and that's really the basics of Rum and Bones Second Tide. So let's go back to the table to see what I think about it. So first impression of Rum and Bones Second Tide. Well, first thing I want to say is that obviously this was a Kickstarter fulfillment, and something that Alex and I have talked about on the show is there's kind of this desire to like something that you've spent a ton of money on Kickstarter and you've waited all this time on, and that's just kind of a bias that you might have. But so far, I am really enjoying this game. I think it's really solid. This is really just so much Ameritrash. I mean, you have all these beautiful plastic models and you're just shoving them across the board, rolling a bunch of dice, pulling them off, respawning, putting them back on, and it feels a lot like a MOBA. I haven't played MOBAs a lot, but I've kind of dabbled in League of Legends. I'm not crazy about it. But as far as a board game implementation of it, I think this is really solid. I think that there could be some swingy things with the cards, with the 2 decks, because you have your 2 factions and they have their individual event decks like we saw in the rules overview. But I think that's okay. I'm okay with some swinginess in this game. I'm okay with some imbalance. This is not a complex Euro that I want finely tuned. This is just something that if I just want to chuck a bunch of dice and just play with a bunch of cool toy soldiers, I'm going to get to do that. And, you know, I like my combos. There's some cool combos that you can pull off here, whether it's combos with card play, combos with the upgraded abilities for your heroes. And what I think I really like about this is, despite the fact that it's just kind of get in there and kill a bunch of stuff, there's still a lot of different ways to do that. And the different factions themselves kind of play differently. So you can certainly get in there and score points by killing enemy heroes, and you're going to do that some, right? But also there are points by killing the Kraken. There's some card play things that you can do. Just different ways to approach this. And I think as I get the additional Kickstarter exclusives, the additional factions, and I go back and I buy some of the old factions, I think what I'm going to find is that there is a ton of variability here. And so far, I don't foresee this getting old anytime soon. I mean, that certainly could happen at some point. But I mean, the minis are beautiful, the components are beautiful, the board is beautiful, and it's just that kind of fun, almost mindless, and I don't mean that in a bad way necessarily, but it feels kind of mindless, especially as you're moving your creeps along and you're just picking up, you know, a huge chunk of them and just moving them down the board. It's really cool. So overall, first impressions, I think this is pretty solid. In fact, I am actually enjoying it and liking it more than I thought I would, which sounds weird for, you know, to have bought the core set and a bunch of add-ons. You'd think that I was going to expect to like it a lot, but this was kind of just well, it's CMON and I don't want to not back it because I have a problem, but I'm actually enjoying it a lot more than I expected. So excited to play more, excited for the other factions, and I think this is just a fantastic production from CMON. What I will say is that I have very little knowledge about first edition. So I can't really tell you about what's different between Second Tide and the first edition. My understanding is they kind of fixed some issues with it. And if this is the final product, great. I think it's fantastic. So excited to play this more. So that's Rum and Bones Second Tide from CMON Games. And if you'll be so kind as to subscribe below, follow us on Twitter, and join us for our weekly podcast. Until next time, this is Sean, and I'll catch you later.